Hey guys, welcome to another Ottoman AAR. This time, actually the previous time, I didn't stream the session because I injured my hand, so I actually wasn't sure if I could actually play at all. And I kinda was, but it really was kinda messy because, playing only with one hand, it's kinda difficult. But anyway, it probably was a good idea not to stream because this session was kind of exhausting because a lot of rehosts, especially the first one because we needed to edit the save. The previous war, if you remember, ended in kind of a white piece, I would say. If you remember well, it was a great war over Sicily. And also their side added some bunch of war goals for colonies, Ottoman Africa, I believe this one, Equatoria, and then I don't know if I actually lost something else here. It doesn't seem like I did. Maybe I lost something to France, although I don't really remember. And of course I lost Sicily. So the deal was, we peace out for those current war goals, but we don't get any war capitulations, which was actually a much better deal for us than it was for them. Because they did get some territories, not that important territories, and we didn't get war capitulations, which was, at that point, far more important for me than losing territories, because even though losing Sicily is a kind of a big deal, because Sicily is just great, I still think that war capitulations would hurt me far more than just losing states or colonies. Now, as things currently stand, I'm kind of focused on just developing our country. And as you can see, we're currently the tech leader when it comes to industry. Also quite good in culture, slightly behind in military techs because other countries focused on the upcoming war, which I'll talk a bit later on. And our industry seems to be growing very, very well. This kind of goes to prove my theory that literacy is everything in this game. If your literacy is low, then you won't be having a huge industry. Let's just check literacy rate at this point. So France is only 1% ahead of us when it comes to literacy, and I don't see many more player-controlled nations. There is Netherlands, but the Netherlands is kind of small country, so it doesn't really affect that much. Austria is at 100%, which is quite surprising, given that Germany and Japan aren't at 100%, even though they start with both better literacy. Italy is quite surprisingly very high, 93, which is quite good for them. USA 95, that's completely okay. And then France being the only other, there is Portugal, Brazil also, 92%. France and Portugal, Brazil also being ahead of us, but then every other player-controlled nation is way below us, so that's kinda great for us. Now, in terms of industry, I don't actually know who's Germany is leader. Italy seems to be ahead of us by 100 points, but I think we are going to jump ahead of them in this session. It's gonna be hard to overtake Portugal, Brazil because they are, 300 points ahead of us. Yeah, it's reachable, but I'm not sure. It depends on how long this session will go. So below us is Spain, Netherlands, Scandinavia, and basically all the other minor countries. So every great power is ahead of us, but I think we can catch up to Italy, and I don't know if we can actually catch up to Portugal, Brazil, but it also depends if they join the current war, then things might change. So, as you can see, my fleet at the moment consists only of transports, but I have a lot of them, so 100 transports, and I think making no battleships or any fleet that can actually fight till now was probably a good choice because my navy is kinda behind in tech, and it's not kinda, it is behind in tech. So my ships would probably sink, and my industry, I don't believe it's strong enough right now to support a large navy. Now, it will change in some 2 or 3 years, maybe a bit more, but at that point we'll be in much better shape. At the moment, I don't think we should be making a huge navy. Can't check production because I would need to unpause it then. Because it's single player right now, you won't be seeing realistic numbers. So, if you remember in the previous war, USA was actually neutral. So, now they decided to join and start a new Great War. It was actually Scandinavia starting the war, USA and UK jumping on their side. I believe Russia will be joining them very, very soon. And against them there is Germany, Austria-Hungary, France and Italy. Even though France was kind of telling that they weren't joining German side, they actually did join. So there is a huge, basically European super bloc. France, Italy, Austria, Germany. I believe Spain is on their side. They actually have to be. I mean, they are in the French sphere, so they would have to leave French sphere in order to join the other side. And oh, I didn't actually see this. When did this happen? Zealand was taken by Germany from Netherlands. I don't remember that happening, but okay. Wasn't paying much attention there. So now the question is, which side, if any, should I join? If I join Austria and their allies, I would be kind of betraying my previous alliances, and in exchange I would probably be getting more stuff. So what I would be aiming for are British colonies here, but I don't see any good states that I could get back. Maybe it's a Briz from Russia, but that's all really. And I would be making quite some enemies over there, so in any potential future wars, I would have to cover my eastern border against Russia, and my Africa against UK, potentially Japan, even though Japan I think is going to stay on the fence in this war. I think they are going to skip it. So we'll see how that goes. On the other hand, if I join Russian and British side, I would have to commit a lot troops to Europe. Potential gains, I don't actually know what I could gain. I think I could gain definitely Bosnia back, which is still my core. And I think I would be aiming for Croatia, because it's just great. Even though it does seem kinda depopulated on my taste. It's fine, I guess. It's not that bad. On the other hand, I could still get Sicily, so maybe I should just go into a separate war and see what I can get. That is a third solution. And of course, the fourth choice that I could take is just to remain neutral and try to catch up in industry and overtake few countries, which actually is not a bad idea, because during the most of the previous session I was actually fighting rebels and trying to stabilize my country, because once the war finished, I had rebellions everywhere, and the thing is, I was at 100% war exhaustion, and it slowly started dropping. I mean, once you're out of the war, it drops to 50% automatically. Now, there is a problem in this mod, because blockades are so extremely valuable and painful for countries that are blockaded. Somehow, even if your ports are or occupied by rebels, you still get war exhaustion even though you're not in a war. So I couldn't get my war exhaustion below 50% because it just wouldn't go down. At one point it went down to 48% and then it went back to 50%, which is ridiculous. I'm not in a war. How am I getting war exhaustion? So still, even now, what is it, like 10 years after the war, I still have war exhaustion, which is ridiculous. It is going down finally, because I managed to clear rebels, but it's just it was so painful for our country. And I still have some 70 brigades to build up. We have a lot of artillery being built, so it should take some time, and I will definitely not be joining this war in the first days if I decide to join it. Now, I'm also creating a battleship fleet. I don't think I'm gonna go for dreadnoughts. We will have some oil later on, and I'll have to calculate which is actually more important, because both dreadnoughts and battleships are very expensive to maintain. They take. I can't actually remember. I know battleships need steamer convoys, steel artillery, coal, and maybe what do they need? It should say somewhere. I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure if they need phones, or is it only dreadnoughts? Anyway, the difference between battleships and dreadnoughts is that battleships require coal to work. Dreadnoughts require oil instead of coal. So, since I actually have some lack of coal, even though it says we're exporting coal right now, that's really not true because we are not producing that much coal at all. And we will have a lot of oil because we have Albania, and I think I might be aiming for Wallachia and Romania, I mean rest of the Romania, so I will have some oil. And it might not be a bad idea to switch to dreadnoughts later on. In which case, I think I would just be making like commerce raiders and dreadnoughts, and the other solution is keeping battleships if I actually have enough coal for industry, and just going for cruisers, because cruisers also need oil, I mean fuel to live, so it might not be a bad balance. We'll see about that though. Seems like Russia is building some battleships or dreadnoughts. I don't actually know if they can actually build dreadnoughts. I don't think they can. Those are probably battleships. So, if I don't join this war, I think the war is quite balanced. I don't think European side, that is Germany, Austria, Italy, France, have advantage, because Russian front is really not that stable. And if they start attacking everywhere, I don't think Russia will be able to reinforce with enough troops. That being combined with the Russian industry, I don't really know how good it is. They do have a lot of points in industry, but that doesn't mean necessarily that their industry is very good. On the other hand, British and American side has naval supremacy, so Navy is really OP in this mod, and if the war drags for a long time, I think USA and UK should be winning the war despite numerical superiority of the Central Powers. So that is quite interesting situation right now. The other solution is that Japan and I make some kind of new bloc with perhaps a few minor countries like Portugal, Brazil and Spain maybe, and see if we can actually benefit from this war going on and dragging for a long time. Potentially we could grab some territories that can't be defended right now because all troops are focused on this front, which is quite interesting idea, but how well we can do that, I don't really know. First of all, I need to quickly get done with these sieges. This is why all of my armies are in the south and actually in Africa. I was trying to get rid of those rebellions. So I need to rebuild my troops, that is number one priority. Rebuild my fleet, that is second. And get some money so we can actually fight a war. Because at the moment our industry is not that stable. I spend a lot of money on industrial subsidies, but although it's probably because the war is going on, so people are consuming more goods, and it's taking a lot of I think we are importing a lot of stuff. Let's see. We're importing a lot of tea, which is quite interesting. And wine. Yeah, I definitely need to improve my industry, so that'll take some time, and by that time we should be seeing which side has an advantage in the war, and I usually like to join the war on the losing side and trying to balance it, because of course it's more interesting, and it's potentially more rewarding. But if we decide to join the winning side, then, you know, it's questionable if we can actually get a lot of stuff. So we'll see about that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you on Friday.